Hey beauties! Today we will be discussing the different body shapes in my Fashion 101 series. Let's start off with the beautiful supermodel Giselle and the gorgeous singer Tyla. Now, besides striking beauty and amazing glow, these ladies have a key difference in body type. Can you spot the difference? Let's add some guidelines to help. I'll give you 5 seconds. Giselle has a wider waistline, giving a straighter body profile, and Tyla has a smaller waistline, giving a curvier body profile. Again, both body types are absolutely stunning, but there are obvious differences, and that's okay. Let's look at another example. I have two beauties wearing belts. Let's see if you can spot the difference. I'll give you another 5 seconds. The model on the left side belt is placed on her hips, and the model on the right side belt is placed on her waist. Oftentimes, people confuse the waistline and the hip line, so here are some easy definitions to remember. The waist is the smallest part of your torso. You can check out my Fashion 101 video, Torso Lengths, by clicking the link in the top right corner. Your hips is where the torso and the legs are joined together. Another way to identify your hips is to see where your pelvic begins. There are 5 body shapes that are different combinations of your waist and hip widths. It doesn't matter if you have long or short torsos or long or short legs, anyone can fit within these 5 categories. First, we have rectangle, triangle aka pear, hourglass, inverted triangle, and round aka apple shape. Let's bring our beautiful model Giselle back, as she is the perfect example of a rectangle body shape. We can identify rectangle body shapes by confirming if the shoulders, waist, and hips match in width. The red guidelines on Giselle shows that all lines are relatively equal. With this body type, there are straighter body profiles due to all equal points. Another example would be mid-size model Jill. This is the perfect example that body types does not equate to how much a person weighs. There is a strict focus on the person's body shape. Jill has all equal points in her shoulders, waist, and hips. Another identifier is that people who are rectangle shaped also has narrow hips. You can check out my hip size video by clicking the link in the top right corner. Next, we have the triangle aka pear shape. I don't know the name of this model, but if you know this beauty, tag her down below. People who are pear shaped often have wide hips, a small waist, and a small or flatter chest. They are noticeably voluminous in their hip area. Another example would be the Obama sisters. While the unknown beauty from the previous slide may appear to have more weight, these ladies are slimmer pear-shaped women. A huge identifier again is if the chest is noticeably smaller than the hips. Next, we have Salma Hayek with the voluptuous hourglass figure. We can see that Salma has a full bustier chest and that her hips are also full. I want to emphasize here that women can be hourglass with or without hip dips. Again, check out my hip size video. Hourglass women are known for their tiny waist. The smaller the waist, the more hourglass she appears. Not all hourglass waistlines are made the same. As long as it's noticeably smaller than the shoulders and the hips, and she has a full bust, she will be considered hourglass. On to the inverted triangle with icon Naomi Campbell. The inverted triangle body shape is identified by the waist and hips being noticeably smaller than the widest part of their shoulders. Inverted T's are known for their broad shoulders and is the most noticeable unique feature about them. They may also have narrow hips. Even if there are some curves there, as long as the hips are smaller in width compared to the shoulders, they are likely a triangle shape. Here's a plus size version of an inverted triangle. Please tag this unknown beauty if you know her name. Unlike Naomi's petite figure, this unknown beauty represents another noticeable feature with inverted T's, which is their bustiness. Lastly, we have Gabory, representing the round aka apple category. Round women have broad shoulders, wide waistlines. It could match the shoulders or be wider than both the shoulders and hips. They usually have a large bust area, and sometimes they can have some narrow hips. I really want to emphasize that apple shapes does not depend on how much a person weighs. Let's use Wendy Williams as an example. She would often be mistaken for a triangle shape due to her large breasts and narrow hips. This will further be explained in the next segment. Let's talk about some key similarities and differences between inverted triangle and the triangle, aka pear shape. Both shapes are similar in their small waist compared to their shoulders and hips. They are different in proportions. We can see Naomi has broad shoulders and the model on the right has full hips. They are the exact opposite of each other, hence both of them having triangle in their name. Triangle shoulders matches their hips as well. So if you look at the model on the right hand side, both of the red lines are relatively equal. Triangle shaped women often get confused with hourglass because their hips and shoulders are relatively balanced. Both women are noticeably curvy, and both women have noticeably smaller waistlines. What makes the two shapes different is based on the bust size. Hourglass has a much more fuller bust, and triangle has a smaller bust size. Okay, back to our Wendy example. Inverted triangles and round shapes are the same in their broad shoulders, narrow hips, and their hips being smaller than their shoulders. What separates the two shapes is the waistline. Inverted triangles have a smaller waist, and round shapes have wider waists. What makes Wendy an apple is that her waistline is wide compared to Naomi's smaller waistline. So you think you can identify body shapes? Let's test it out. I'll give you 5 seconds for each picture.